still on to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our conversation for today. Alhaji Aliko Dangote, president of Dangote Group, has accused the former Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosun of twice demolishing his cement plant while in office. Dangote made this claim during a meeting with Governor Dapo Abiodun, stating that the factory in Itori was pulled down both times during its construction. He credited Abiodun for creating an environment that allowed him to return and resume work on the project. In response, Amosun, through his media office, dismissed Dangote's allegation as deliberate mischief. He challenged Dangote to provide proof of land acquisition and the necessary approval for the demolished structures. The statement emphasized that government operations are carried out through specific ministries and agencies responsible for approving physical developments. Amosun's media office argued that no business, including Dangote, could operate outside of the law. It pointed out the irony in Dangote's allegation, noting that he had previously praised Amosun's administration for promoting investment and helping to establish his Ibeshe cement factory after years of delays under past governments. Further refuting the claim, the statement highlighted that Amosun's tenure attracted over 500 companies to Ogun State. It cited World Bank recognition of the state as one of Nigeria's top 3 for ease of doing business. Ogun also became Nigeria's industrial hub, accounting for 75% of the country's foreign direct investment in the industry. Former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan had even visited multiple times to commission multinational projects reinforcing Ogun's industrial growth. Amonsun's media office insisted that Dangote should provide documentation for the demolished structure to clarify the situation. The response concluded by asserting that not all Nigerians could be bullied or compromised, emphasizing a commitment to high standards and integrity. I still have with me Emeka Amantunago. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
For being here. Yes, you are, I would love to believe, the best that, of course, can deal with this issue because your grasp of the politics in Ogun State is so deep and all. I would love you to bring us up to speed, especially for those who might not be aware of what had gone wrong during Amosun's era as governor. Remember the Funshi, Shinshe, Chinese thing. It all equally happened during Amosun's era. Now, what do you think is happening here? Maybe we might better understand from
thank you very much.
beginning.
I think Amosun should actually be given his due credit for attracting, yes, like you said, over 500 companies to Ogun State. Because he was somebody, excuse me, who was really ready to help companies establish in Ogun State. I remember one time where some of us, journalists and politicians, went with him, on a project tour, went around some parts of the state. And we were sitting in a bus, a coastal bus. He sat down with us. I sat down this way. And I think he was sitting to my left. And I said, Your Excellency, I jokingly, I said, Your Excellency, the way you are pointing at these industries and telling us, giving us information about them, giving us facts, and I too would like to establish an industry. You know what he said? He said, go and bring money now. I'm afraid that is, go and bring money, we'll give you land immediately. So that shows you how interested he was in, in making Ogun the industrial hub of Nigeria, and he really did well. One of the industries that he attracted to Ogun State was actually, it was just even happenstance. The industry was in one state in the east, in the southeast. Now, they wanted to build a bigger factory to employ so many people. But it was said that the governor of the state said no, that they had to go to his hometown.
The governor of the southeast
of that southeast state
okay.
said they must build a factory in his hometown. And they said no, they would rather build his factory in a commercial city. Your hometown is a rural area. It will be arduous for us, to be getting, how do we get raw materials? How do we get the market and all of those things? So it was around that time they now heard about how Amosun was encouraging companies. And lo and behold, that was even around the time that the government actually, the federal government took this gas injection, very seriously. So they now found out that, wait a minute, why don't we even go to Ogun State where we can get gas? Nearness to source of raw materials is there. We have gas, so we don't have to bother. Because in that southeast state, there is no gas pipeline.
Yes.
So, but here's gas, which will even make it easier for us to produce. And that's how they moved. And that factory is one of the biggest industries. It's around the Shagamu interchange. It's one of the biggest industries. You can imagine how many citizens of that southeast state would have been employed if not for that unfortunate decision by the governor. So now, talking about Ogun State, I think there must have been a misunderstanding between Dangote and the governor concerning that matter. Because if you even go deeper, you look at the issue of the Dangote refinery, and how Dangote said he wanted it in Niger Delta, but I think the issue of these incessant invasions of oil facilities by youth and women, I think made him to just say that it might not be really worth it. He thought of Ondo State, but there were some issues. Let me just call them issues. Then he thought about Ogun State. But again, maybe it was around that time he and Amosun were having this issue about his factory at Itori, and then so finally he moved to Lagos. I think he approached Tinubu, and Tinubu facilitated the land for him to build his factory, his refinery, I mean. But well, he has his factory in Ibeshe, in Ogun State. I don't know why he brought up that matter. Well, maybe just to massage the ego of the sitting governor.
But of course, he can't come out boldly on national television to say that his company was demolished while it wasn't. So which means
no, it was demolished.
Yes.
But Amosun has come out to say it was because he didn't have approvals.
But do you think that is true for a
not
personality like Dangote, who understands the rules of engagement? Remember, whenever such a blue chip brand is being built, it's not just sit together and talk. It goes through processes, which I would love to believe Dangote has got what it takes to go through all of that.
Was it not some months ago, last year, that the NMDPRA said that Dangote refinery had not got necessary certification to be selling fuel, petrol in commercial quantities to Nigeria? It was in this country, it was its refinery. But along the line, things changed. So perhaps at that time, Dangote is a very busy man. Maybe the information he was given by his staffers, was not actually accurate. It's possible. It's possible maybe he was out of the country or he was engaged with some other pursuit, so he couldn't really get that information, the accurate information. And somehow, I don't know how come he didn't meet with the governor. Because for somebody of his caliber, they expect that he would have gone to meet with the governor. That, Your Excellency, what is the problem? Why this demolition? Something must have gone wrong between the two. Because Dangote is a big employer of labor. He may be even the biggest employer of labor outside government in Nigeria. So, for somebody like that, I don't think the government of Ibikunle Amosun would have readily just been demolishing his factory like that. There must have been some unresolved issues, which I believe with time will come to the fore. Yeah, because Amosun really, I'm telling you the truth, it's not because we are not friends. He may not even remember who I am, but I'm just being frank with you that the man did so much concerning the industrialization of Ogun State and the development of Ogun State.
Yes, give it to him. Of course, there's no doubt. He
made mistakes, so no doubt about that. Yeah. There were things he could have done better, but he did well.
Yes, there are things he would have done better, and that's where I'm actually, going to. When something happens once, of course, it can be said to be let go. When it happens twice, you don't equate it to like when it happened once. When it happened 3 times, it's becoming more like an addiction. Dangote's claim is not the first. The Fusheng Shenzhen company that led to the Chinese government, freezing our assets and our airlines is another case. Patu Tomi equally labeled the same thing against him when he wanted to build whatever it is, and the same reason he gave to Dangote was equally what. So when this is
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Don't you think it is because Amosun himself has a problem with either wholeheartedly giving out lands for construction or whatever it is, or that he has a special interest that people are not talking about?
I don't know. I cannot say what I know nothing about, but what I do know is that at least maybe there was a breakdown in communication.
From who exactly now?
Between himself and those people. Because I think also there was some of those things he gave some aides to handle. And I think they bungled it. If you look at the story of the Chinese company, the way it was handled by some of his aides left so much to be desired.
But he was very knowledgeable about some of those things. He was.
Yeah, the style differs from one person to the other. There are governors who work hands-on. Somebody like Governor Abiodun, the sitting governor, someone who will handle issues hands-on. That's why you see he hasn't had a lot of conflicts on his hands, because he's more of a hands-on governor. He does his style. Yes, Amosun was hands-on, but perhaps he left some of those issues to be handled by his aides, and they bungled those issues, unfortunately. So then maybe he had some misunderstanding with the people you mentioned. Well, it's possible. It's possible. So, well, excuse me, one thing I do know is that these things happen. At least he even attracted industries to the state. What about some governors who drove industries from their states? Governors who for selfish reasons, for outlandish reasons, did not allow industries in their states. Even frustrated industrialists in their states. Wasn't there a businessman from the southeast who wanted to establish a cement packaging factory in one southeast state? He was frustrated, allegedly because of the interests of the same Dangote. But if the governor of that state had actually intervened and said, okay, instead of packaging, start building a factory now, then with time, let's see how it goes. I will intervene. But there's no record of any intervention by the governor of that state, and even his successors. There was no record of intervention by any of the governors in that matter, maybe going to meet with the president or the minister of industry or things like that. So, but I think those instances, Patutomi, Dangote, should not actually wipe away the efforts made by Amosun in the industrialization of Ogun State.
Yeah, very, very true. Emeka, when we talk about the ease of doing business, for so many people who understand that very well, it's not just sitting down, at one lounge and having a handshake, with bottles of alcohol. That is not just what it is. It's about the investor looking at the pastel analysis, the political, the environmental, social, technological, and others to determine if this place is good enough for investment. And so Dangote is one of those people, even if he is a Nigerian and of course practices most of the business he does in Nigeria. Now let's take a look at foreigners and of course foreign direct investment in this particular matter, who are looking at some of these things. So do you think the will to want to readily invest in Nigeria for some of these foreign direct investors would be there in the real economy? Do you think it will be there, hearing some of these things, especially coming from the richest black man in the world, Aliko Dangote?
Well, there is the temptation to think that they will be deterred. But I think it's a case-by-case analysis. Because if those Chinese didn't have it good, but there are other Chinese who are doing business in Ogun State, who have factories in Ogun State. There are other businessmen who set up factories in Ogun State. And, well, you can just say, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are the negative aspects of the issue of industrialization under Amosun? I think he will still get his plaudits.
Okay.
If we look at it critically and in an unbiased manner.
All right. My last question to you, just before I let you go, looking at the transition, the government leadership transition in Ogun State as compared to Lagos State, what do you think Ogun State needs to do? Because, of course, the rift between Amosun and Dapo Abiodun is still very, very green. What do you think the case should be in the future?
I think they should just try to be statesmen instead of just politicians. They should try to be statesmen. Because at the end of the day, the interest of the state, the interest of the people of the good people of Ogun State overrides the interest of any personal political ambition. I know that Dapo Abiodun has not been in good terms with one of his predecessors, Otumba Gbenga Daniel, who is the senator for Ogun East. And Abiodun is said to be interested in going to the Senate.
Okay, he's equally from Ogun East?
Yes, he's from Ogun East. So I think he felt bad that Gbenga Daniel actually got that ticket. And he tried to stop him, but he couldn't. So, and I think if you look at it, the same thing with Amosun. Amosun wanted his in-law, Akilade, to succeed him. But somehow the vice president then, Oshimbajo, weighed in on behalf of Abiodun. And then also current President Bola Tinubu also weighed in, and he became governor of Ogun State. So if you look at it, the entire scenario points to the undue there's a word I want to use, but I think they focus more on their personal ambitions over the wider, the wider interests of the people of the state, and which I don't think is good. It's not helpful to the people of Ogun State. I think they should bury the hatchet and work together. Whether anyone is governor or senator, at the end of the day, it's the interest of the people that matters. Amosun was senator, and he's no longer a senator, but he's still there in his own way, doing his best, for the good of the people of Ogun State. So I think that should be the overriding objective, the overriding interest of every politician in Ogun State. But I think also the people of Ogun State, they also want the governor to do better in terms of development, spreading development to different parts of the state. And it's something that I hope he can live up to that expectation before his second term runs out in 2027.
Very, very true. It's very important for these leaders to bury their hatchet and allow peace, reign, because the truth of the matter is that Ogun State is very similar. Someone would say it's very similar to New Jersey, while Lagos is the New York, and the spillover, of industrial, economic development, infrastructure, and all that. New Jersey is actually enjoying some of them as much as they can, and taking advantage of it.
New York doesn't have many industries like that. It's basically more as a financial center because it's a port. The ports of New York, New Jersey. Yeah. So that's the basic thing. Where you have the factories like Michigan, Georgia, and all those other places, not New York and New Jersey.
Yes.
So for Lagos, yes, Lagos has factories, but over the years, many industrialists have chosen to come to Ogun State because there's more land in Ogun State, and
the ease of doing business.
And then
taxation, multi-taxation, and all.
Friendlier, yes, in Ogun State. That's why even including Dangote,
very true,
moved
Yes,
to Ogun State.
exactly, and that's why I think the Ogun State, the government should take advantage of this and turn their state and turn the state itself to one of those hub of industry in Nigeria. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for being here. Really do appreciate you. All right, people, that's just about the time we have for today. We'd love to say thank you for making this a date with us. We truly do appreciate you. Please do well to visit us. You can always find us and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I'm Henry Gwebike. Thank you for watching. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.